Welcome to the Monday night edition of the 2 Point Conversion. Do not be freaked out because the video that you're seeing is 2 minutes, 3 minutes of me, is 3 minutes behind what I'm actually saying. So it's kind of like watching a Japanese film with subtitles. Just pretend that's what's going on right now, and I'll be okay. For those of you on Twitter, we cannot get, if you're tweeting or giving us messages, we can't get them. So come on over to YouTube. To those of you on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button, send us a chat, tell us what you want to know. And tonight we have the lovely and wonderful Jay and Zach, who are probably going to hold up, my end because, again, Japanese subtitles going on right now. Jay, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you, Gladys? How are you, Zach?
Doing good, thank you. I was doing better before the Bucks blew their lead and ended up losing tonight, but overall can't complain.
It was a good game. All right, so we're gonna, because each of us have like two things that we want to talk about, we are going to start now. We're just going to jump right into it. If you have any questions, just or comments, as long as they're nice, just let us know and we will get back to you. And we're going to start with, hey Jeff, how are you? And whoever the Facebook user is that your friend?
I don't know. I told my guys, that we're on with the draft. They like the show, so they might be coming back. I don't know who it is though. That's a 3-point conversion.
Hey, Jeff. So necessary. Yes, it is a 3-point conversion now. Although, again, Japanese subtitles, so it's the 2.5-point conversion because I'm like a little bit behind. All right. The Facebook user, we love you too. So it's a lot of love going around right now. Zach, we're going to start with you. Your one topic, and then we'll go to Jay, then we'll go to me, and then we'll go the reverse way. So what's the first thing you want to talk about there, Zach?
So the first thing I want to talk about is Kendrick Lamar, someone that is very overdue for an album. People like myself who are a big fan of his. I believe it was 2017 is when he dropped Damn. He's been on a couple tracks since then, but been waiting long. I've been dreaming of this day and this Friday, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is his new album. And then also last night, he dropped a little teaser. He dropped the Heart Part 5, which was a new song. But I am very excited about Kendrick dropping the new album this week. I've been waiting far too long, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's saying on that album.
What was the new song? Wait,
The Heart Part 5.
The Heart 5.
Yeah, he did some deep fakes on there of OJ Simpson, Kanye West, Kobe.
Did you hear? Were you able to download it?
Yeah. Or I liked it. I mean, similar to most of his songs, he's telling a story throughout it. So I enjoyed it from that aspect, but it was the deep fakes in the music video where he's portraying these people. He had such a wide range of people he was pretending to look like. O.J. Simpson, Kanye West, who was the actor who had the lawsuit in New York. I'm forgetting his name. On Empire, that guy. But he did a deep fake of him as well.
Jesse Smollett?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Okay, no, there's a few weird ones.
Let me just say real quick that I like that Jeff thinks I know what I'm doing. It just makes my heart. Jeff, you just make my heart like that. You think I know what I'm doing, and you tell me all these little things all the time. It's glorious.
The boss man has confidence in you, Gladys.
Yeah, he's about the only one right now who has confidence in me. All right. So when does the whole album drop?
Oh, this Friday. Probably Thursday night sometime. I'll probably be staying up late hoping it's a midnight drop or something like that. But I'm sure I'll have it on repeat for a while. That's definitely what I'll be doing this weekend is listening to that, regardless of what I'm doing.
I do like Kendrick Lamar. I'm just not that. I'm not that person that I. It's like the movies. Like, I do love Marvel, but I'm not going to go to the theater and sit with a mass of people to watch Doctor Strange. Although I do love Doctor Strange, but you know what I mean. Like, I love Kendrick Lamar, but I guess I'm not in love with Kendrick Lamar.
How is it possible that Zach probably knows more Kendrick Lamar than both of us?
He probably does.
I know a lot of Kendrick Lamar, but that's I mean, I listen to the rap and hip hop genre a lot, but Kendrick is one of my top 3 favorite rappers just because there's so much poetry in his song or in his songs. He's telling a story, he's got a message, he's got a point. So when something like this is coming out, I'm always excited to kind of see what's coming next. And I mean,
Do you live in Wisconsin?
Chicago.
Oh, see, I was gonna give him the whole lives in Wisconsin, he has nothing else to do kind of thing, but you live in Chicago. Where in Chicago? In the city?
the burbs. No, I'm not trying to be downtown in that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So are there a lot of people in the burbs that are bumping to Kendrick Lamar? Or is it just you?
I would say there's a lot. Yeah. I think so. Okay. I mean, Kendrick's pretty popular everywhere, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I don't think it's just me out here. And I mean, even if it is, probably be playing it in my car once it starts to warm up, so they might get familiar with it either way.
That's we appreciate that. We appreciate you playing it in your car and bumping down the street.
Not too crazy. I mean, I'm driving like a mom SUV type thing. I don't need to be going crazy over here.
It's all bass, no treble, cruising down the street. SUV,
just loud enough to cover my own voice if I'm singing along. No one needs to hear that.
That's awesome.
You hear Zach coming down the street.
Absolutely not. Yeah, you would think I've got 4 kids in the back if you saw my car, so wouldn't fit at all.
Oh my God, you made Jay leave. Look at you.
He got so embarrassed by the thought of me bumping Kendrick in my car. It's reasonable, though. I don't blame him.
I'm going to go get that. I'm going to go get this single right now.
No.
Now I have to keep an eye out for when he comes back, because otherwise we won't know it. All right. So what's your favorite Kendrick Lamar, not album, but song?
That's tough because I mean there's probably about 5 or 6 from each album dating back to 2010, but my favorite, I would say, verse is off of DJ Khaled's album Holy Key. In the song Holy Key on there, Kendrick does a feature. It's him and Big Sean, and that's probably my favorite Kendrick verse.
That's Big Sean and Kendrick is a really good match going on there.
Yep. I like both of them a lot. I think Big Sean's underrated, and getting both of them together, always nice. Yeah. And I mean,
so did you like the halftime show?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, that was pretty much all of how I got into rap, because it started with Eminem, and then I went back and checked out Snoop and Dr. Dre, and then it was 50 Cent with The Massacre, and yeah, no, it was great. That Super Bowl halftime show was everything I needed.
Hi, Jay.
What's weird? Who was I the one that dropped, or you guys?
No, it was you.
You're the one that dropped.
I'm thinking I was holding down the show by myself. I'm like talking. I'm like,
I thought you got so embarrassed by the thought of me bumping Kendrick in my car that you just left us.
You know, I'm like the only one on the screen, and it's showing live, and it's still like counting down. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was holding it down for a while. This is my chance at a solo.
You were doing great though. Just know that.
I was doing my Kyle Senra impersonation there for a minute, and nobody was watching.
And no one was there. I'm sure your son saw it, and he was like very proud. He's like, yes. That's my dad.
Jay, do you have a favorite Kendrick song? Gladys was asking me that while you were gone.
I like some of his older stuff. I still listen to Loyalty a lot. I just think it's a great song. So that's kind of the one that stays on my playlist. I do like him though. I do like what he talks about. It's very different. I'm here in LA, so it's kind of hard not to like Kendrick.
Yeah, yeah. I know he like in his. Have you heard the Heart Part 5, the one that came out
I
today?
haven't heard it. I haven't heard it yet.
Okay,
My
he
my
has a
guys are
part. Or go ahead. Sorry.
no, my guys are talking about it. I haven't heard it.
Was it good or bad what they were saying about it?
They're just telling me I gotta listen to it.
Yeah.
So
No, I
I'm gonna
would.
take
I
their word
would
for it.
say so. No, he's got a good tribute towards Nip in there too. You can tell
Oh,
there's. I think all the guys that he kind of does the deep fake of looking like them. They're pretty much all LA guys except for Kanye and the one actor. I mean, OJ was most famously LA. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's great.
cool stuff, man. I would never known. I would not have put it on you.
What, Kendrick on him?
Yeah,
Did you think I was the one that was doing the Kendrick?
yeah. I was like,
You
what's
saw
this?
it?
When I saw like Jeff was coming on, I was like, oh, Jeff's coming in to talk about Kendrick Lamar and
You know, Jeff
uh
isn't talking about Kendrick Lamar. Please, come on. We
I
know
could
that's
make
not
a
happening.
I could make a ADP ranking of my Kendrick Lamar favorite songs.
Yeah,
oh
I would
man.
be I'd be shocked and amazed by that Jeff thing, the Jeff coming on talking about Kendrick Lamar. Um, Nothing personal, Jeff. You don't seem like a Kendrick Lamar kind of guy. Although I'm not sure what that says. I'm gonna take that back.
He said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!
See,
I grew up on hip hop."
uh, anyway, Jay, what is yours? What's your one
Yeah.
thing you want to talk about? The first thing.
Speaking of your ADP, I do have an ADP problem. In the fantasy world, I believe that we in the fantasy community are undervaluing Isaiah Spiller, grossly undervaluing Isaiah Spiller. I did a superflex mock already. I'm in the middle of a slow draft right now. We're like coming into late round two. In the first one, he went really late in round two, and I was shocked. I didn't have a pick in that one.
Are
I
these
only picked,
dynasty or redraft?
yeah, dynasties. And I'm in the
Oh,
dynasty, and so the one that I'm in, I took him on the turnaround coming in at 2.02, and I think that people are putting too much stock into the underwear Olympics as we do every year, and I think it's time that we stop it. And I know that Kyle's going to come in; he's going to have something to say about it, but I just think that before everything, right? I had Isaiah Spiller, and I think mentioned this on our first time together. I had Isaiah Spiller ranked number one. I had actually had him ahead of Brees Hall. I had him and Brees Hall like in a really tight tier, and then it was Kenneth Walker, right below him. But before Kenneth Walker lit up Michigan, all the talk was
uh-huh.
Brees Hall and Isaiah Spiller. And what ended up happening was he got the injury. We come into the combine, and now he doesn't run, right? So if you're a running back or a receiver, if you don't run in the 40-yard dash, then that's what people are going to judge you by, right? And so I just think that that's the reason why he started to fall. That's when talking heads started putting him on the do not draft list. He's making Kyle's podcast of don't draft this guy and all this type of stuff. But I think that people forget that Isaiah Spiller, so coming out of high school, he was like the number 9 ranked recruit in the nation. So he was a top
Hmm.
10 talent coming in, went right into College Station and just balled out against SEC talent. The guy's 6 feet. He's 215. He's got nice speed for his size. He's got soft hands. He's got quick feet. He's got great vision. And I just think that when you're talking about a dual purpose back, he's a dual purpose back that landed in a good spot when in a direction where the NFL is kind of going to that, right? They're going to go in, and the days of having the workhorse back, those days are going to be over. And I think that the Chargers have been trying to dial back Austin Eckler for like the last 3 years. And you look at Austin Eckler right now, what is he, 26, 27?
27, I believe.
He's 27. He's on contract through 2023. I don't see the Chargers re-signing him. I think the Spiller is going to have a big role this year. I think he's going to be an elite handcuff in season long, and I think that he has standalone value there. I think that this is a player that we're going to have. Everyone's going to have him on their roster by week 10. He's going to be on 100% of fantasy leagues.
I'm in a slow draft, redraft, and we're in the 8th. We're 8, I think, and Spiller still hasn't been taken. Like there was a run on running backs, and Spiller is still, he's like second right now. Kenneth Walker went ahead of him.
And that's that's fine. That's fine. But what I'm seeing, so we're talking about like, and especially like in Dynasty Superflex, right? We got those top 7 picks are pretty much nailed in, right? You got Brees, you got Kenneth Walker 1, 2, then you got all of the receivers coming in. In whichever order you put them in, all of those guys are coming in. So then that puts us right at that number 8 spot, and that's where people are starting. That's where the wheels start to fall off. That's where people are taking Kenny Pickett. We've had many discussions about Kenny Pickett. I don't see it. He's getting the draft capital, so I guess that's why he's being talked up like that. That's where people are taking a reach on receivers. That's where Zach's coming in on Christian Watson.
Earlier,
people are like drafting like Damon Pierce before him. They're drafting Algier before Spiller, and I just don't get it. I think that there's a good chance that Spiller is going to be the running back 1 for the Chargers some point in time this season, because Eckler is not going to be able to hold up.
And I'd actually agree with what Kyle's saying right here. But I also agree that Spiller is falling more than he should. I like a wide range of these receivers, but someone like Dameon Pierce, where it's hard to know what you're getting in Houston. And, the Chargers, my biggest concern with them taking Spiller is every time I've kind of gotten my hopes up about them using a 3rd or 4th round pick on a running back, they're taking another on the next year. So I think Spiller hopefully can be that change where you can clearly just come in, be, hey, I'm the number 2, have fun finding a new team once your contract's up to those other guys. I think Spiller should get his opportunity as well. Like Jeff already mentioned, Eckler usually gets hurt at some point in the year. He's getting older. He's usually banged up. And yeah, I would definitely expect Spiller to get his work, but also, just he's falling more than he should. You said late second?
Yeah, he went late second. I'm talking like around at 210, 229, 210.
That's too far. I mean, I'm like Kyle, where I'm relatively low on him, and I was prior to the combine. However, as low as I am on him, if I see him middle of the 2nd round, I'm still going to snag him without any hesitation, knowing that he shouldn't be available at that slot.
He shouldn't be. There's something to be said to actually playing really good football in the SEC. I hate the SEC. I hate the way college football is catering to the SEC. That's a whole nother topic for discussion, but we can't deny the NFL defenses that you're playing against in that conference. And we're talking about a guy that had, almost 3,000 yards rushing in his 3 years as a starter, 25 touchdowns. He was good in the passing game as well, 585 yards receiving there as well. So he's a player that if the Chargers needed him, because when Eckler goes down, right, if they needed him, he can be on the field for 3 downs. And I would like to have the guy that I think that Justin Herbert is going to come into his prime with. And I think that that's going to be, I think that people are just undervaluing Spiller because the talking heads have said, do not draft him.
Okay. That's valid, because you're talking dynasty, right?
I'm talking dynasty and season long. I believe that he's an elite handcuff in season long.
I don't know if I would.
Are you going to spend like a top? Let's say you're going 12 rounds in a redraft. Where are you drafting in a redraft? Where do you think you should go in a redraft?
12 rounds. I think you should probably go around round 10. You know what I mean? I think that that's around where you're going to.
If you're doing a handcuff around 10,
And I don't believe in
totally
taking
okay.
handcuffs on every player, right? Because sometimes, like, if you get a handcuff, just because he's the next guy up doesn't mean that he's going to be able to produce what the starter does. However, in a situation like with Spiller with the Chargers, with that offense, I do think that he would not be too big of a drop off. He's not the same type of player that Eckler is right now. He's young. He's only 20 years old. But I definitely think that there's a lot more talent and a lot more upside than where he's going in both season long and in dynasties.
So what you're projecting is essentially what everyone hoped Chuba Hubbard would be last year for the CMC
Yeah,
handcuff.
it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with taking him in a redraft in round 10, a handcuff. But I mean, non-flex. Yeah. I don't think that's undervaluing him in redraft anyway. I mean, if he
In
doesn't get
dynasty, he is
drafted,
because in dynasty he's
dynasty.
being undervalued, right? Because you're talking
Yeah.
about rookie only drafts, right? And they're not in the drafts that I've been in, right? There's not 22 players that are better than Isaiah Spiller in that landing spot with the Chargers. I just don't see it.
And they have a potent offense. I mean, like I said, I'm not a dynasty
Worst
player,
case
so
scenario
he
is
doesn't.
that he's a touchdown vulture, right? And you're talking about the Chargers that are going to always be threatening to score. So worst case scenario, he
Yeah.
could stumble his way into 10 touchdowns his rookie season.
Okay. Zach, what do you say? Agree or disagree?
It's tough to, because I feel as if Jay is a little higher on Spiller than I am. I think there is value in regards to. I think
Right.
there's value in getting the handcuff to Eckler. I do think that Spiller is being slept on a little bit in comparison to some other guys I've seen taken ahead of him, which I agree with. But I don't necessarily see Spiller as being necessarily the workhorse that Jay might think he is. But I mean, Jay and I also disagree on other prospects as well. So I think.
I like Christian Watson. I love him.
But just the upside, we have varying opinions on the upside of some of these guys, while we both like both.
All right. So you, Jay, brought up Kenny Pickett, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine as long as there's no Pittsburgh slander behind that.
Okay.
But do you know that according to DraftKings Sportsbook, he's the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? Kenny Pickett
because he's a quarterback. He's a quarterback, so he's going to have that inside track.
Quarterback yet? He's not even the starting quarterback yet, and the other quarterbacks are way down, like way down, way down. Running backs aren't even. Brees Hall is like the fourth favorite. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. Christian Watson is above Brees Hall in Offensive Rookie of the Year odds. Which
wow,
that was going to be my pick.
And we're wondering why DraftKings stock is down to like $12 a share, huh?
They're listening to me. That's why it's going down.
I mean, I just don't. I don't understand. Desmond Ridder is way down, but him and Matt Corral and Malik Willis are like together on the bottom. But Sky Moore is below Christian Watson right now. That's ridiculous to me. I'm putting all kinds of money on DraftKings right now.
I think Sky Moore should be higher than Christian Watson.
I think it's more of the Juju effect. That's probably the only reason they're probably not throwing him higher than Christian. Just because of Green Bay only having Sammy and Cobb and Lazard. But I think both have a great case. I mean, all those receivers. I mean, I even look at someone like Garrett Wilson, where if the Jets offense gets going and Zach Wilson has a breakout year too, that's another guy that I'm really going to like for that award too. Where's he at?
Garrett Wilson is right under Brees Hall at plus 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're saying that those guys are going to cannibalize each other. Pickett, to Jeff's point, Pickett is going to start sooner rather than later. I mean, he has the first round draft
It's going to be
capital.
Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
I
think
honestly, I think that the
it
rookie
will
of the
come.
year is going to be somebody really dynamic and explosive, like a Treylon Burks, right? Like you're talking about somebody who can get,
Okay.
like a million targets, Drake London, those kind of guys where because everybody else is just going to be kind of average to good, and you're going to have
So
a couple
Drake
of
London
guys
and
that
Traylon Burks are the same. They're 2 and 3. They're 2 and 2A. Both are plus 750 to get Rookie of the Year. I don't agree with Traylon Burks. I think people are way too high on him. I
I do
think
too.
that
I think
Ryan Tannehill throwing him the ball. Come on,
I just
they're
don't
getting stupid.
understand that. You're essentially
Exactly.
you're hoping that he can be AJ Brown. Like I get now, you couldn't come to a deal contract wise in those negotiations, and you didn't want to pay him as much as he's demanding. I understand that aspect, but realistically, what you're going to ask of Traylon Burks is, "Hey, we need you to be AJ Brown," and if it's anything short of that, it's going to be a disappointment. Obviously, he's younger and might take some time, but you get what I mean in the sentiment.
Hey, I'll accept the AJ Brown comp before I accept the Debo Samuel comp. I'll tell you that.
Wait, what now?
I,
Say that again.
I said I'll
Okay.
accept the AJ Brown comp over the Debo Samuel comp all day long for Treylon Burks.
I think
Oh,
that's the comp he needs to get though, just to keep it realistic with that organization and the amount of targets he's going to be getting, the volume share. I think that's what he should be compared to. Obviously, there's some tangible skill difference, but overall, expectation wise, usage should be that.
Right, yeah. Since 2010, the quarterback has won the award 6 times. It's a quarterback-driven league. I mean, you have to be exceptional to get an MVP vote if you're not a quarterback. So this draft class, for the most part, I think is deep, but there's no stars, and so it's going to go to the default, which is going to be the quarterback who's going to come into a ready-made situation, which the Steelers are, right? They're ready-made. He's going to be able to just come in and not lose games for them. And I think that he's set up to do well. Although I don't like Kenny Pickett, you guys know how I feel about that. The guy got kicked out of college. He didn't come pro. He didn't turn pro. He got kicked out of college. That's my
I'm
stance.
I'm keeping my stance to I'm keeping it quiet with Gladys here. Otherwise, it's going to sound like some Steelers slander real quick.
go ahead.
No,
Awesome.
Go
I
ahead.
I just I'm not a Pickett guy. I'm not a fan of these quarterbacks in this draft class. I like what other teams did in regards to waiting to use their equity to get someone. And I think that's what they should have done with. I thought that's what Pittsburgh should have done. I think Kenny had the lowest upside, but he was the most ready to be tossed in. But I thought the whole point of Pittsburgh taking Mitch on this contract was just for him to be a bridge year guy. And then
Right.
you're looking at 2023 where you've got Tyler Van Dyke, you've got Richardson, you've got CJ Stroud, you've got Bryce Young. You've got a lot of big names coming out next year. I think I was looking at the way too early ESPN mock by Todd McShay. I think he had 6 or 7 first round QBs listed next year, and the top 2 picks that will be QBs unless something
Something
awful
catastrophic
happens.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just thought it would have made more sense long term. I mean, there is a route where Kenny can succeed and win Rookie of the Year with the weapons around him. I am a little nervous about their offensive line and how they protect him, but he's got all the help in the world from a weapon standpoint. But I think a lot of teams should have been just trying to plan more in hopes of getting a QB next year and just having a serviceable guy. And I don't know if Mitch is that, but it's not Drew Lock, it's not Sam Darnold. And in that regard, you're winning. But I guess at
Yeah.
the same time, with your head coach, the expectation is winning and no years off is probably
A-
what their mentality
And
is
that's
with that pick.
pretty much, I think, the theory they were going on. Although I would have preferred Malik Willis, and I would be sure that they'd probably sit him at least the first half of the season and let Trubinsky play. But I honestly think it's going to be a wide receiver this year. I mean, the wide receivers, if you're looking for dynamic, the wide receivers in this class, 10 times more dynamic than any of the quarterbacks, no matter where they land.
Yeah.
Like, Desmond Ritter
Yeah.
will probably get in early. Matt Corral will probably beat out Sam Darnold, although that's not really saying much. And Pickett will beat out Trubinsky. And, but they're not Justin Herbert. They're not Joe Burrow. They're not, they're not someone who's going to take the team and just, well, he had Chase, but take the team and just win with that. He's going to win with Deontay Johnson. He's going to win. Pickett is going to win with Chase Claypool. I mean, Najee Harris. So it's got to be a wide receiver this year.
Or Isaiah
my money's
Spiller.
on Drake London. What?
I said, or Isaiah Spiller.
It's going to be the Green Bay Packer guy.
Christian Watson. So, I mean, I was a fan of Christian Watson. I just thought that, but you know what? It's kind of like the point that I'm making with Spiller, right? You get to a point where you're like, I want to go and get my guy. The Packers feel like if they don't take Christian Watson there, he's not there for them later on. So you go and you get your guy. So I don't hate it. I'm just giving you a hard time about it.
Oh, you're fine. I've been given plenty of hard times about it since I've been aggressive in acquiring them in every dynasty rookie draft. I've done 7 rookie drafts so far out of my 8 leagues, and yeah, I'm going to get them in 7 of the 8.
Drinking, like, heavily. It's just anyone tell me if Jeff is drinking heavily. Willis couldn't hit the inside of a paper bag if he was inside the bag.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. Yeah. That's why Malik Willis fell. He fell into the 3rd round because teams don't want to take a chance.
They all fell into the 3rd round.
Well, he should have, but he should have gone before draft night, right? He was being taught like the Lions. We thought the Lions were, had a chance of grabbing him. And I think that the teams just got together and they're like, yeah, we can't work with this. And it's not like the Josh Allen situation where you see, okay, Josh Allen, not very accurate, but goodness gracious, he can throw from here to Missouri. You know what I mean? That's not Malik Willis. He's a little bit smaller than Allen. He's running a little bit too much. And you transfer from Auburn and then you go down to Liberty. And when I saw him on film, I was like, he looks good. I don't think that he's like earth-shattering.
He's someone that could be fun when there's not tape on him. The teams aren't sure what to expect in regards to how he can scramble around the field and how he can dissect certain things during a game. But I think once you get a few games of tape for opposing teams to game plan against him, once he is a starter, that is, I think he'll be, RG3, yeah. No, I think I don't see it for most of these QBs in this class. And I think a lot of the teams did it right. Someone like Detroit, they got another weapon. A lot of these teams that need a QB, they're just stacking up in weapons. And then, even if, like I was mentioning earlier with the bridge year QBs, they're loading up with weaponry where next year they're bringing a rookie in, but they're building up this foundation around him. I guess Pittsburgh's benefit there with Kenny Pickett is they relatively have that already in comparison to the other teams. But like the Lions with Jamison Williams, Atlanta, which one did they get again?
Desmond Ridder.
Sorry, for wide receivers. Drake London. Sorry. But they have Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and then Ridley if he's ever comes back from a gambling suspension. Plenty of teams are loading up in advance, but Pickett, I could see a realm. The QB, if they're getting the reps, unless he's just Sam Darnold right out the gates, it's going to be his award to lose. Or if we have a wide receiver just blow up like Jamar Chase. But yeah, QBs usually get these awards.
Mm-hmm. Not surprising.
I'm going wide receiver is going to get the award, and it's going to be Drake London or Garrett Wilson, depending on how Zach Wilson does. But those are my 2. I would put those 2 way ahead of any of those guys, including Isaiah Spiller, way ahead of Isaiah Spiller, so far ahead. Anyway, I don't want any of these rookie quarterbacks outside of Pickett. Is that for dynasty or for redraft, Kyle?
I don't think you want him in redraft.
It's
He's
getting.
gone and redrafted a couple in the slow draft that I'm in. Of course, like there are a couple people that have like 2 quarterbacks that were
He's a bye week
starters,
replacement. He's a bye week replacement in season long.
Pickett,
Yeah,
is that who you're talking about?
yeah,
He's one of those
Uh,
guys I would be using the waivers for.
yeah.
Just
If you're streaming quarterbacks, right, you get stuck with that because a lot of people get stuck with that. With that, they don't go into the draft like that, but they just start taking value, 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 and next thing you know, it's round 8, and you don't have a quarterback, but you're loaded everywhere else, and now you're playing the quarterback carousel, streaming them. If that's the boat that you're in, yeah, Kenny Pickett's going to be a guy that you can use for about 3 or 4 weeks.
they'll play
I
some bad
think
defenses.
with the weapons around him, with what he has, I would, depending on who they're playing, I would play him. I mean, if I had him,
Yeah.
if he was like my second quarterback and say maybe not Russell Wilson because he's got some pretty serious weapons too. Maybe even Aaron Rodgers. Like Rodgers hasn't gone yet in our draft, and neither has Matt Stafford. Like it's a really
Now that's a mistake. Those are mistakes.
This
right
is
there.
a yearly league, and they're taking Pickett
redraft.
Yeah,
redraft.
that's a mistake. That's a bad. That's bad right there. That shouldn't.
I think the guy that took Pickett has Mahomes, or he took a quarterback in like the second round. Took Pickett in like the 8th. We're going into the 9th round now.
I don't see how in a redraft you're taking Kenny Pickett over Matthew Stafford. I mean, or Aaron Rodgers. That just seems ridiculous.
I just don't know why. Like I don't.
Second quarterback. I wouldn't mind it.
Regardless of how I feel about Kenny, that's someone that I would definitely have. Like I'd select the little star where he's on my watch list.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing my weekly waivers and I'm trying to keep an eye on potentially bringing in a backup QB if I don't have one, or I'm not in love with who my backup is for those redraft leagues, someone like Kenny makes sense. Because, I mean, even look at Lamar Jackson his rookie year. He wasn't drafted in very many leagues for redraft leagues. And that was a guy that, by the first or second week of the year, he was owned in essentially every league. But that's where, if Kenny starts off hot and shows something that Jay and I don't see, then I would definitely, I think everyone should be jumping on him. But as of right now, I don't see using that capital being beneficial in any format right now.
Yeah. I mean, again, as my second quarterback, I would always take a long shot at someone who has that running potential too, especially, I have Wilson as my first one in this particular league, in this particular mock draft, but I have Dak Prescott as my second, mainly because he was just sitting there and 4 guys don't have quarterbacks, so I was just trying to cock block them. So
I like it.
I just took the next best quarterback.
I do that in a lot of leagues. Just start to get greedy.
Yeah. You're like, I very rarely when I do a draft look at what other people have because I don't care because I can't do anything about
There's
that.
There's a point where you just take the best player.
I get to a point where I just try to make sure the other guy doesn't get the best player. If I have 2 tight ends, so be it. If there's 2 really good tight ends, I will do it. As long as you don't get the tight end.
Awesome.
I always do best available, and I plan to trade afterwards. I mean, Dan, who was in the comments earlier, I was in a startup with him, and, this is for a dynasty league, and it's a tight end premium, but I somehow have a Waller, Kittle, and Mark Andrews just because all the tight ends were because it's a unique format in regards to the lineup. It's 1 QB, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 4 flex, and a super flex. So guys are just valuing the wide receivers, but I just kept seeing these top tier tight ends, and I'm like, look, if everyone else has to just have shitty tight ends and I can hold all of them, that works for me, and hopefully someone gets desperate in a couple weeks into the year.
They'll overpay for one of them.
I want to make the move now so I can win earlier, but at the same time, I know once they realize, oh wow, I got 2 points from the tight end 8 on the year, back-to-back weeks. I should probably hit him up about one of these top guys.
It's
That's when I'll
crazy.
Yeah.
cash in.
That's going to be a nice cash in. Jay, what is your
Yes.
second topic?
Oh
Yes.
my goodness. We need to talk about that Warriors Grizzlies series. I wasn't going to talk about this. Jeff texted me when I was at work. I wanted to talk about Canelo Alvarez getting his butt kicked. But as I'm driving home and I'm listening to sports talk radio, and these people are calling in and they're like, Jordan Poole is dirty. And I'm like, what in the name of Bill Lane Beer are you guys watching? If you think that was a dirty play in any way, I used to ref high school ball. I didn't even call that play in high school. That's just a normal hustle play on the reach. So I watched it in real time. I didn't think anything of it. They showed a replay. They're trying to make this big deal about it. I didn't think anything of it. I actually think that Morant, I actually think that he got hurt on the collision because his foot was kind of planted and it kind of went inward. And then even when he went to go shoot the free throw, like he's holding like the inside of his knee. That little grab of his knee is not what hurt him. And it's just so frustrating because the same people that are calling in are the same people that are saying, oh, the NBA is soft. The NBA is soft. But here you are complaining because what it is that people hate the Warriors now, right? There was a point in time where people rooted for the Warriors, and then they started winning, and then they got really cocky. So now you root against them any chance you get. And the Grizzlies are fun to watch. And this one guy comes on, and he was like, oh, it was an eye for an eye. You know, they did it on purpose. They went after their best guy. And I'm just like, I just don't see it. In my opinion, there's only one dirty player in that series, and that's Draymond Green. Draymond Green is a dirty player because he has a history of doing dirty plays. Dylan Brooks is not a dirty player, but he made a dirty play, right? That was a dirty play, but he's not himself a dirty player. That was just a hard foul that if you're going back in the 90s, that's just a regular 2-shot foul. And then you have Jordan Poole, who is so far away from both of those situations. It's absolutely ludicrous that people think that's dirty. They're only saying that because it's Ja Morant, the supernova future face of the league. If that happened to Desmond Mason, we're not even talking about it right now. Jeff's not texting me. You know, people aren't going off about it on ESPN radio. It's just completely ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. You just got a good old-fashioned chirpy series between two good teams there, and it is what it is.
Zach?
No, I agree with Jay. That's all there is to it. It's not a dirty play. I've watched the replay over and over. I'm a big fan of Ja, and I love what the Grizzlies are doing, but I can't look at that, watch the slow-mo, however slow you want to do the frame by frame. It's not a dirty foul. Like, yes, you see a slight rotation of Ja's foot from the pole, but that's the same knee Ja already hurt during the regular season.
25 games.
He, like you already stated, Jay, he was grabbing at the back of that leg earlier in the same game. You know, he's been banged up constantly. I mean, all year, as much as I love him, I'm also terrified every time he drives to the hoop and he's laying on the court. And I'm like, no, please don't be hurt. And so you never know with this guy, but he's constantly throwing himself all over the place. So there's a lot of wear and tear. And this is some of what happens. And I think even if it tweaked it a little bit more, it made it sting a little bit more with what Jordan Poole did. He wasn't the cause of it. You know, like if that's what took you over the top, 99% of that damage that was causing the pain was already there. And that little bump, like it could have been just like a slight little tap from someone in any normal play doing the same thing if he was already at that point. But I don't think it's dirty at all. I think it's being overblown. It's just not Jordan Poole's tendency to be like that. I know he's fairly young into the league, and also, like Jay said, Draymond Green's the only one with this reputation. Dylan Brooks had that dirty play as well. We'll see if his reputation picks up more in future playoffs, but it's it's unfortunate to see Jaw down, and it's unfortunate to see an up and coming guy like Jordan Poole get labeled this dirty player, this guy with this dirty play from something that's just completely overblown.
Do you think the refs are calling these series too tight? That their whistle is too much?
Well, I think that you got Steve Kerr, who, he watched Phil Jackson do his thing. He played with Michael Jordan, so he knows how to work the refs. He knows how to say exactly what he needs to say, in the press conference to get their attention. He's not afraid to spark a little bit of controversy, sell some extra tickets there. So Steve Kerr knows what he's doing. He's very tactical in the way that he talks, the way that he does his pressers. He's very tactical. So I do think that there is something to be said where they're going to be tight with the whistles. But there's also the reason they're going to be tight with the whistles is that you have two of the best players in the league playing in this series right now. I mean, with Steph Curry and Ja Morant. And so people want to see that duel. And those are guards. And because they're guards, they're going to get a lot more calls, for them. It's not like
I don't mean just in this series though. I mean,
I think overall, there's
overall.
I don't know if I've heard a coach yet in any of these series avoid bitching in the post game about the refs. I mean, Chris Paul got 6 fouls in 24 minutes yesterday. Giannis, the Bucks feel like Bucks fans feel like Giannis is getting robbed of calls and the refs are in favor of the Celtics. Then you go on Twitter and all the Boston fans feel like Giannis just never gets any calls. So you have that in that series.
Marcus Smart play should have been a 3-shot foul.
Yeah, you have. I mean, there's constantly. I look at every series. You have dialogue on both sides of it, where fans, teams, like the coaching staffs, the players, everyone's pissed off at the refs right now. I'm surprised that there has. I guess the biggest frustration probably for the teams themselves, and what I think would fix a lot of it is consistency.
Yeah,
it's that at one sequence of the game, they're not calling a charge or a blocking foul or a slap on the wrist as he's driving to the hoop, and then in the 2 quarters later, they're blowing their whistle every time. And it's like, if it's playoff basketball and you want it to be physical, then you need to maintain that throughout the whole game, throughout the whole series.
Right, because you set the tone, and then you pull him back with the whistle there.
Yep. And it's hard for teams to keep a flow of what they're trying to work with, because teams change lineups, change strategies, pick and rolls, coverages, all that. They change that based on how these refs are blowing the whistle. And when they're not consistent, it's hard for these teams to have a real flow. And I think that is part of the reason why we've had so many close games for the most part too, because no one can really just drive away with it. The teams that are feeling good early, suddenly those whistles change and you see the flow kind of just get cut off and the other team's back in it.
But this is the going trend in all of the major sports, though, where all of the major sports are catering towards the offensives. I mean, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, they're making it harder. Like, you can't do like the different like signals with the pitching and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, I think I used to ref. I can tell you that ref in a basketball game is incredibly, incredibly difficult. It's a fast moving game. You're trying to stay in position a lot, and we do anticipate a lot. But I feel like, just being someone with referee experience, watching an NBA game, I can pretty much call travel and carry and a foul on almost every single play.
Not on Giannis though; he never travels.
I will say that James Harden is a marvel of beauty. I will say that. I will stand on my soapbox and count that out, that he does not travel on that play.
He knows how to manipulate the rule, though. He finds the loophole, like Section C of Rule 3 of
the gather
subpart.
step.
Yeah, no, that's where he made his money, and now you see it kind of hurting him a little bit.
Yeah, they changed it up on him.
All right, Zach, let's get your second one in.
So to keep it on the theme of the NBA stuff, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, my guy for the Bucks. Unfortunately, we didn't pull out the win tonight. The series is tied 2-2, but he's a man on a mission. I mean, Chris Middleton's out. Who knows when he's coming back? I guess Milwaukee today was saying how he's able to do everything except the contact stuff as of right now, which is not promising at all considering how physical this series and what you can imagine any other series going forward would be. But, Giannis is carrying the team on the back. And while tonight he shot 14 for 32, nothing great. He's got 34 points, 18 rebounds. But, I mean, in this series, 34 points, 42, 28, 24. And, I mean, even in game one when he wasn't hitting a shot, he had 12 assists, 13 rebounds. He's doing it all. He's trying to carry the team on his back. But it's unfortunate for two reasons. He's asking so much out of guys that are really having to step up more, and he's trying to do so much of it. But also, a rant I will try to avoid, but Coach Bud, that man can't make adjustments. He's stubborn in his play call, and I tried to fight it all year last year, playoffs, regular season. I was begging for this man to be fired when I thought we were going to lose to Brooklyn. I'm like, oh yes, Coach Bud is gone. And then, I was thrilled to see us win the title, but at the same time I realized, oh no, I'm going to be stuck with this. So throughout this year, I tried to fight it, tried to stay away from it. I'm like, no, Giannis will just somehow get us through whatever Coach Bud tries to screw up anyway. Well, Coach Bud is back and better than ever, and so am I, just wishing he'd get fired. But luckily, I still have Giannis carrying the way and trying to cover up for all the Coach Bud blunders.
Well, Coach Bud and Drew Holiday, right? 5 for 22 for the field.
Yeah, he was rough tonight.
He was brutal. That's hard to overcome when you got a team like Boston. You got Jason Tatum is coming for that throne. Some people think so. I don't know. I still think the Bucks will win the series, though. They have the best player on the floor.
Yeah, I think it's tough with Drew to step into that second score because, he was doing it in other games of the series. However, he can flourish more on offense when they're not asking for the same high volume because Chris is out there and he can score. But right now, Drew is always kind of our primary perimeter defender. Chris wasn't a bad defender either. But, Drew is always asked to pick up Jalen on the screen, pick up Jason on the screen, pick up Marcus. Like, he's switching all over the place. He's taking on everyone. He's doing a great job of it, but it's really hard to be effective and efficient on the offensive end when you're wearing yourself out so much and putting so much energy into the defensive end of the court. And that's where, obviously, you said 5 for 24. I'd like it to be a little bit more effective than that, but it's sad that we don't have Chris. I'm still feeling optimistic about the series, but it's rough to ask someone to be like Giannis's right-hand man on the offensive end and be the anchor point up on the perimeter of the defense for 41 minutes tonight. Like, it's tough to be that two-way guy and really be effective on both ends every day.
Yeah, it's tough. And then you figure even if they do get past Boston, right, because they're scoring 7, they get past Boston, how much is left in the tank? The way Philly's starting to come along, pretty good here with Embiid. I don't know. They're going to need help. And you had Al Horford problems tonight too. He was
30 points, 11 for 14.
He was like super efficient.
Superman.
Yeah, he's got the rest after half the season off in OKC. No, I'm not. If the Bucks manage to survive this series, I'm less concerned with the Eastern Conference Final, but it's more so the toll of who they would be playing against in the finals. Because I look at the Western teams, and that's where I'm more nervous of. If it's an Ayton again after Giannis has been trying to carry this workload, Giannis is going to be gassed. I don't think the 76ers necessarily have the supporting cast, and I think Jim Harden is their shooting guard now. He no longer goes by James. I mean, he had one good game, so I'm only going to call him Jim. But and the Heat, Jimmy's look good, but Hero's inconsistent. Lowry's not the same. He's clearly aging. But yeah, with the Warriors, they have Draymond, they have Curry, they have Poole, so it's tough. I look at that one. I mean, Dallas looks good now. I mean, Giannis and Luca. Like if it's Luca or Steph, that's going to scare me because Giannis is barely. I think Giannis is the best player in the world, but it's only a marginal increase over the best guy on the other team. Like Tatum's trying to step into that tier, but I mean, I think he shot 4 for 19 or something in game 3. It was something awful like that where uh I just I have a hard time. Yeah, Tatum 4 for 19. So he's trying to come into that tier, but those Stephs, those Lucas, Ja, if he were healthy, those are the guys to really be concerned about if because they have a better supporting cast as well.
The problem with the Heat though is not it's Spoelstra. He's literally the best coach left in the playoffs, I believe. So you're gonna get a rugged team if it's the Heat, right? Because they got their own problems right now with Philly. But if it's the Heat, you got the best coach, in my opinion, one of the top, I would say probably the top 3 coaches in the league right now. In Spoelstra, that team's always prepared. They're always ready. So you're gonna get a battle either way, man.
I would love it to be Doc Rivers just so both fan bases can have our teams hating our head coaches while hoping to make the NBA finals. We're both happy if we lose because hopefully we can get rid of our coach and happy if we win because we're in the finals. That would be the best case scenario. And also, the Bucks and the 76ers have a long-standing rivalry.
Long history, yeah.
And I would love to play them. I mean, I think the rivalry really picked up. I know that 2001 they had their history, but I like to think it started in 2013. Bucks were 15-67, tanking for that Jabari Parker pick, and 76ers lost like 20 something. They lost like 20 something straight, and they still didn't lose as many games in total as us. So I think that's when they were in their prime tanking. Yep, and it was a battle of who would be better first. And I mean, it's crazy to actually see both in such a successful spot.
Isn't it sad? Like that's what teams have to do, right? You're either elite in a title contending, or you better suck.
I'm surprised it's the Philly. I'm surprised Philly had to do it though, because they're a bigger market. Milwaukee, I kind of understand it more, but those larger markets usually have a tendency to be able to pull in those free agents. I mean, or you have the OKCs.
Good teams. Philly had some good teams in the past, but they just had. That was their mindset. Their mindset was, no, we're just going to tank until we get superstar players.
Until the NBA forced out the GM because they were tired of him tanking so hard.
Yeah.
Do either of you have a problem with the Joker being MVP?
No.
I got the Nugget banner right here. I should have worn my Jokic jersey today.
I don't think that any other player has claim to being the most valuable player. I think that when you look at what Joker does night in, night out, I mean, he's a walking 2020. I mean, the guy's just simply phenomenal. If he was a guard, nobody would be debating it because he's a big, slow center in a guard-driven league. People want to discredit him any chance that they can get. I think that he's definitely the MVP.
I agree. I think it's just the old news aspect. People want something new. Giannis, like there was a clear top 3. There were some other guys that were making cases. Tatum, Booker, Ja, Luca. Like those are respectable cases, but they weren't anywhere near those top 3 guys. And I can see a reasonable argument for any of the 3, but at the same time, I think Jokic clearly was the front runner. I mean, Giannis, Embiid, I get fan bases trying to argue for that. Yes, I would love Giannis to win a 3rd. Obviously, I wouldn't complain there. But at the same time, watching Jokic just drag the Nuggets along all year and somehow get them into the playoffs, and you see how god-awful the supporting cast is against the Warriors. And he's trying to do so much, and he's got no help around him. I mean, his 2 and 3 are out. Aaron Gordon isn't really an offensive guy like that. Oh yeah, Jeff says he's not high flying and sexy. I think the
She's a
dad
dad
bod.
bod. Shout
I
out to
think
the
the
dad
dad bod though
bods.
makes him relatable in a way. Yes, he's way taller than most. Like people usually relate to the guards because of the height, but I think the dad bod makes Jokic relatable in a different way. I think
Which
it's
is
a.
pure
Go ahead.
comedy. That's pure
Yeah,
comedy. You
it
seen pictures
is.
of Jeff's wife? Like she has like a washboard stomach, and Jeff's walking around with the dad bod in here. How did that work out?
Did you see the picture of Jokic on the back of the carriage with like the one horse pulling him in Serbia last year? It's such a ridiculous photo. It's like this guy's the MVP of the league, but no, he definitely deserved it. He carried his team along, and you just got to feel bad for him because he wants to win. He doesn't care about the MVP stuff, and that's what made it so comical about Embiid kind of lobbying for it in the 76er organization. I definitely Jeff, the important part is acceptance of it, and
Acceptance.
that's all that matters. No. The no, the Jokic is
Reach out of
so
your
good.
league. Out of your league, like the Packers taking Christian Watson at the beginning. Too high for them.
All right.
Oh.
So that Zach knows how this works. Jay, start your rant.
My rant is that Ryan
Yeah.
Tannehill is right. I don't want to hear it. Everybody needs to shut up. Stop trying to play nice all the time. It is not his job to mentor Malik Willis. It's not his job. The man is in there to try to take money off of his table, take food off of his table. He is trying to take his job. I want my quarterback to have that competitive fire, especially if I have a window. It's closing, but you still have
It's
a
closing
window.
rapidly.
It's closing rapidly. You still have a window. I want the guy that's going to compete. I don't want my quarterback saying, "Oh yeah, I'll help the kid along." Man, bump that. You sit on the bench, homie. This is my show. This is my team. I got this bad taste in my mouth. I got to get back there. I got one more year with Derrick Henry. I got to do it this year. I don't want him talking about, yeah, I'll mentor him. I don't want to hear that. And also the whole quote was, he did say, if he happens to learn something from me along the way, great. But I don't think it's my job to mentor him. Ryan Tannehill, you are a god for saying that. Thank you, because I'm so tired of everybody in this so sensitive generation. Oh, you're a terrible teammate, man. Bump all that. Go out there and win games. You can't even get drafted in the first round, and I got to go and mentor you, man. Miss me with all of that.
And that's how it's done, Zach. So
I
what's
like
your
it.
rant?
Okay, so my rant, more than anything, with this rookie draft season, has to be about going and getting your guy. I know Jay and I have talked about this. I've talked about it with you guys about my love for Christian Watson. You know, we all see these draft boards, these rankings of who should go where they're falling in different drafts. But let me just say this. If you've got a guy you love more than anyone else, yes, maybe he's not going 1.1, maybe he's falling 1.8, 2.2, whatever. Be aggressive. Don't screw the ADP. Get a pick, a few picks ahead of wherever you think might be a little aggressive but fairly in the range. Just go do it. Because you know what's going to suck more than reaching is missing out on the guy because you're trying to be a little passive with it. And you know what I do? Hey, I traded up. I got 1.4. Do I think Christian Watson's going there? No, but I want him. Let me hit up 1.5 and 1.6, try and figure out who they're trying to take, who they're eyeing there. Oh, guess what? They want Treylon Burks. They want Garrett Wilson. They want whoever there. Cool, my guy will be there. Then I can trade back and get a little bit more, get a little bit of what I gave up to move into that spot initially. But my rant is all about, if you've got a guy you want, you clearly believe in his talent, just go do it. Don't listen to the rankings. If you see what's there, you like the tangible things, just do it. Don't be hesitant because you'll regret it later when someone takes him and you were just trying to be passive and scared and just felt like, oh, no, he should be there. No, just go do it. Go get your guy.
I dig it. I dig it.
I like it. I like both your rants. I actually don't have a rant. I mean, I thought that this weekend was the best weekend for sports, but I watch a lot of college sports. So you had the USC women's winning beach volleyball, which they won with a player from Eastern European player that played in the Olympics, came in third place, whatever, USC. Then you have the women's softball going on. Then you have the Wnba started. So all of you who are lamenting that there's no sports on right now, and I'm not counting baseball because I really don't like baseball. It takes so long for one game to be over. Jesus Christ. They play forever. Forever.
Yeah, give the ladies a shot. They're out there doing their thing.
Yeah.
WNBA, those ladies can hoop. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been to a few games, and
That's right.
they're just so skilled.
You're not in Minnesota.
No,
You're in Chicago.
no, but I had the opportunity to sit courtside at a Phoenix Mercury game one time.
Oh, nice.
And they were playing the Sparks, and Derek Fisher was the head coach, and our seats were right next to the coach line. So Derek Fisher is right there bitching at the refs. That was
Derek Fisher. Nice.
yeah.
Jeff, seriously, do you want me to cry like a girl? Is that what you're trying? Is that what you're going for today? Seriously. Because I don't. Thank you. It is. It's so incredibly long. I went to see when Boston played the Rockies out here. I went to that game. Oh my God. It was the longest thing in my. I thought that I had aged like 10 years. I was like, is it over yet? And it was only like the third inning. I was like, okay.
I guess
there's not enough alcohol in the world. There's not enough smoke in the world.
Baseball's good for DFS though.
They what?
It's good for DFS. I won my only DFS tournament in playing baseball.
so.
Really?
Yeah.
So Gladys, I guess you won't be reaching out to me about my Dynasty baseball rankings anytime soon.
Yeah, no. I had a friend who parlayed like 7 teams. Like he just picked them. He's a Mets fan. Won $4,000.
Ooh.
Like on 10. It was a $10 bet. I'm like, I still can't get into it.
So is it just baseball as a whole? Like just not a fan?
It's boring. It's boring.
I used to work in it, so I'm a little biased. Like I used to work for the Rockies organization and the White Sox organizations, and I was right in the middle of it. So I'm a little bit my perspective is a little different, but I can understand where it's boring. I mean, for me, my favorite baseball games are the ones that are 11 a.m. first pitch or a 2 p.m. first pitch. You know, there's no other sports really going on except maybe a Champions League soccer game, and I'm looking for some live entertainment in regards to sports. So yeah, let's turn on the baseball game. But I mean, this is also good.
Lacrosse this week instead of watching baseball.
Oh,
I hate lacrosse. Exactly. I don't even understand it. I was like, oh, lacrosse is on. Let's turn that on because the baseball sucks.
I probably watch about 4 to 6 MLB games a day.
Whoa.
A day?
You're a wild
yeah.
man.
You get the little quad feed on the MLB TV. Wait.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's
At
great.
the same time. Because it's going to go.
Yeah.
It's going back to back to back to back. Then
You know,
I mean,
it's bad. You know it's
sometimes.
bad when you can't even stand to watch it and you're gambling on the games and you're like, I don't care about my money. I
Exactly.
don't want to watch this.
Really?
I don't
You'll
want-
bet on it and you're still bored? Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a whole systematic issue. I know, Jay, you were mentioning like a complaint about the SEC with college football, but that's the same way I feel with baseball, where I look at the NBA, we're talking about all these big name guys that fans love, and the MLB, like they don't do anything to try and market these guys. They try and grill them, or they don't embrace their
make them
personalities. Yeah, they
you
don't
get
want them to
They
bat
don't have
flip.
a personality.
Yeah, you get a
They're playing baseball.
fastball to your head for doing a bat flip. I mean,
Yeah, they don't want them to have fun though. They're like, oh, this is the old-fashioned sport. It's like, come on, are you kidding me? Like, just embrace the personalities, embrace the players. Try and add some rules where you speed up the pitches. There's not don't let guys throw back to first 8 times in a row. Like, even some of that stuff, for as much baseball as I watch, it's boring. And for other people, I know a lot of sports fans are just like, hell no, not baseball. I'll watch anything else. Yeah.
For so many
Exactly.
years, they chose the face of their sport to be the guy with literally no personality. And Mike Trout, great guy, great player, but guy had about as much personality as a box of crayons. So
See, and
Soto.
I think those guys that play baseball. That's why it's
yeah,
boring.
yep.
I
But
can't help it.
anyway,
It's just, yeah. Anyway, so Zach, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at the Big Pulaski. Otherwise, just all over the
Is
place.
that
I'm
your
going
last
for
name?
2. Huh?
Is Pulowski your last name?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, that makes more
It's
sense.
a little
I was looking
yeah,
at it,
just play on the Big Lebowski.
which I've never seen.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go
But
ahead and add you here on Twitter.
wait,
You'll be
so you just
one of
like
my
to-
4 followers here
Well, I'm glad to be
yes,
included.
at
you don't put
jbank727.
your Twitter handle, so no one knows where to find you, Jay. Where do they
So I don't
find
even
you
know how
on
to do
Twitter?
that. So
Hey,
Jeff.
this is
Like
the
Jeff
tech savvy pod.
Okay, wait. What writings you just write for going for 2?
Oh yeah, I still need to start working on my stuff. But otherwise, I've just been bouncing around on pods. I'm doing the fantasy cheat sheet with Mike. Drop the mic, FF.
Nice.
We've been having
Yeah,
fun
okay.
over there.
Nice. And you can find him here talking.
Yep.
He's going to talk about Jay. What's your Twitter handle?
at jbank727. You can be one of my 5 followers.
It'll be 2 million tomorrow.
I know, right? Like in a month, he'll have 1.2 million in a blue check.
It's going to be.
Wait.
It's going to be like you said you reffed high school basketball out there. Watch, you probably some NBA player is going to be like, oh, I remember him from reffing my high school game, and suddenly he blows up.
Exactly. I appreciate all of you who have stuck with the whole Japanese subtitle vibe that I have going on tonight. Thank you very much. See? It'll catch up pretty soon. I can be found on Twitter at Gladys L. Tyler. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and just bump that subscribe button, because you'll not only get this show, but you will get all the shows that Going for Two does. Going for Two does. Is that right English? Is that correct English? Going for Two does. Yeah, it sounds good. And that's like, we cover everything. Jeff makes sure that all your fantasy needs are covered. So hit the subscribe button. Appreciate the comments tonight, except for Jeff Lambert's. Appreciate the comments tonight, and thank you. Yeah, everyone for joining us. You can see some writings I do for Going for Two, for Rotoballer, and for Gridiron Experts on right now doing draft stuff. And thanks, Jeff.
Thank you,
And
Jeff.
we will see next week. You will see Kyle. I don't know who's going to be his guest, but it's always going to be great because Kyle is like a fountain of knowledge himself. And then the week after, we 3 will be back, and we might change our name to the 3-point conversion by then. Who knows? Gentlemen, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.
Peace.
Have a good night.